The common cold, what your body goes through. The rhinovirus, a completely distinct virus, causes the common cold while one of the many strains of the influenza virus causes the flu. Common cold symptoms include general malaise, a light headache, congestion, sore throat, coughing, and even a low-grade fever. Similar to how the flu virus spreads throughout the population, the rhinovirus did so by infecting respiratory secretions that were released into the air. This means that if an infected person sneezes or coughs into their hand, they have a chance of infecting the next person or object they contact. You catch the virus if you touch a contaminated object and then touch your mouth, nose, or eyes. If you handle any object that hasn't been cleaned after it was handled by an infected individual, this may be the case. While the virus is primarily acquired through contacting an infected object, it can also spread via the air when an infected person sneezes. When a person's immune system is compromised, the cold virus is more easily contracted. Inadequate immune system care can put a person at risk for a greater viral load before symptoms appear, making them sicker than they would have been otherwise if their immune system had been operating at peak efficiency. Several aspects of a person's life can have an impact on this. Factors that compromise immune health. A person's immune system and its capacity to fend off the common cold virus are mostly impacted by prior medical conditions. Asthma, diabetes, heart disease, HIV, and AIDS are the conditions that present the greatest risk. The quantity of sleep a person obtains is a supporting aspect. If a person doesn't get enough sleep, their body won't be able to repair the harm from the previous day. Fighting off illnesses, viruses, and bacterial infections becomes more challenging as the immune system deteriorates. The body is also less effective in removing poisons and waste from the environment. Eating sugar can severely lower immunity just as much as consuming insufficient amounts of minerals. Simple sugar consumption can reduce the immune system's efficacy for up to 6 hours after consumption has ended. By making sure that all dietary requirements, vitamin and mineral requirements are met, and that proper nutrition is obtained. The human body experiences overall inadequate nutrition if the fundamental requirements of nutrition are not met. The rhinovirus and the human body. In 2008, Canadian researchers from the University of Calgary were able to demonstrate that the rhinovirus does not cause symptoms. The body's reaction to the presence of the virus results in the symptoms that are felt. There are more than 100 different rhinovirus strains, and they are all capable of causing the common cold. The primary cause, nevertheless, is the human right of the virus. The American Journal of Respiratory and Critical Care Medicine research papers marked the first occasion when researchers examined the genetic changes in the common cold virus cooperatively. The rhinovirus is an important pathogen that causes asthma and COPD in addition to being a significant contributor to the common cold. For instance, experts have found that children who have the rhinovirus and experience early wheezing episodes linked to it are the same children who are most likely to eventually develop asthma. Symptoms of the rhinovirus. Between 1 and 3 days after coming into touch with the virus, symptoms of the rhinovirus start to show. Usually, a burning sensation in the nose or throat is the first sign. This symptom is quickly followed by runny nose, sneezing, and coughing in the affected person. The nasal secretions initially resemble sand-colored water. But, as the infection spreads, victims get sicker and their mucus gets darker. Historically, it was believed that yellowish or dark mucus indicated the presence of a bacterial illness. However, study has shown that this is untrue. Some rhinovirus sufferers get a little cough, and asthmatics may discover that their symptoms are suddenly harder to control. Most instances do not first manifest as feverish. But, in a few cases, a low-grade fever, often less than 100 degrees Fahrenheit, does appear. After 3 days, the symptoms usually start to subside, and after a week, the congestion usually goes away. The infected person is contagious for the first 3 days of a cold. It is important to stay inside to prevent the virus from infecting others. There are some situations where a cold develops into something more. In the majority of these situations, a sinus infection results. You can find out exactly what ailment you have by visiting a doctor and having nasal swabs tested. In addition to bronchitis, ear infections, pneumonia, sinusitis, and worsening asthma symptoms are other problems that can arise from a typical cold. Colds frequently occur before ear infections in kids. This is due to the fact that when a cold is present, fluid discharge can infiltrate behind the eardrum and increase the risk of bacterial infection. In the grand scheme of things, avoiding a cold is far simpler than dealing with one. By refraining from using unneeded antibiotics and secondhand smoke, you can lower your risk of getting a cold. Get at least 8 hours of sleep every night, and make sure to drink lots of water. Yogurt consumption can also aid in reducing the risk of rhinovirus infection. To get rid of any unwanted bacteria and viruses that you have come into touch with, make sure to wash your hands regularly throughout the day.